प्रायः प्रपदने पुंसां पौनः पुण्यं निवारयन् हस्तश्रीरङ्गभर्तुर्माम् अव्याद् abhayamudritaha. This is a beautiful verse which tells how the Lord said that, "Hey Devas, be fearless. I shall offer you protection. I shall be born on this earth to the great king called as Dasharath, and my name shall be Ram." Such a beautiful verse which gives fearlessness not only to Devas but to us as well. What we have seen in the previous episode was the Devas took shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord in Vaikuntham. Like discussed before, there are beautiful transcreations to this epic poem called Ramayana. One is a Champu Kavyam. Champu Kavyam in Sanskrit literature is an interesting combination of prose and poetry. Bhojaraja in his Ramayana Champu describes the scene of how the Lord reclines on a serpent couch in the great abode of Kshirabdi, the milky ocean. He says, "Kshirambodher jataramabito dehabhasaf prarohaihi kalonmilat kuvalayadala daityaprapadayantam praptanvanam bhujagashayane kamapi kshaumamore nidram mudram nikhila jagati rakshani jagarukam." If you would remember the beautiful verse from another Sanskrit poet who has described the slumber or the sleep, it is in the sleep, but it is a yoga mudra by itself. He says, "Saptaprakara madhye sarasijamukulod bhasamane vimane kaveri madhyadeshe mrudutarapanirat bhogaparyanka bhage nidra mudra viramam katinigatataf parshvavinyastahastam padmadatri karabhyam sarasijamukulod rangarajam bhajeham." Another place he says, "Antarjyotir kimapi yamina manjanam yogadrishtéhe chintaratnam sulabhamihana siddhimokshanurupam deenanatah vyasana shamanam daivatam daivatanam divyam chakshuhu shruti parishadam drishyate rangamadhye." How beautifully the poets have gone to the extent of describing the sleep of the Lord. Here the Lord said, "Hey Devas, do not be worried about the Rakshasas. I will be born at the right time." Well, this is on the scene number 1. We need to check what was happening in Ayodhya. If you would remember, Dasharatha was a great administrator. He had his council of ministers, he had his council of advisors who would advise him the right way of administration. Nevertheless, there is some void that's left in everybody's life, and Dasharatha was no exception. He had everything in his life but a son. As said, the question should not arise whether he was worried that he did not have daughters. He had daughters. Or the only thing that was left, that was he did not have a son. So, seeking a good son was the duty of every king in those days, because they wanted a son not for them but for the kingdom. They wanted a son not for their pleasure but for the pleasure of his subjects. Hence, he sought the advice of his council of ministers, who said, "Hey Dasharath, you need to perform an Ashwamedha Mahayagya or a Hayamedha Mahayagya." Hence, to perform this yajna, they advised Dasharath that they should be inviting a certain rishi called as Rishyashring. Rishyashring was the grandson of sage Kashyap and the son of sage Vibhandak. He was a person of great austerities. He was a person who would always immerse himself in deep meditation. He would contemplate on subjects that would ensure the welfare for the mankind in total. The beautiful verse that reads about his history is, "Kashyapasya cha putrosti vibhandaka iti shrutaha rishyashringa iti khyata tasya putro bhavishyati." Hence, Dasharath walked all the way to the hermitage, the ashram of Rishyashring, and said, "Hey Rishi, it is you who has to come to Ayodhya, perform the Ashwamedha Mahayagya, and thereby help me bless with a son who would be an able administrator, an obedient son to the parents, a dutiful brother to his siblings, and after all, a good human being. Rishyasringa immediately accepted the request and said, "Hey Dasharath, please do not worry, I shall be in your kingdom at the right time." And he reached Ayodhya and along with his disciples started performing the horse sacrifice called as Ashwamedha Mahayajna. And this sacrifice, this Ashwamedha Mahayajna, according to Ramayana, went for over a year. It reads, Samvatsarante Diksheta. And at the end of that particular Ashwamedha Mahayajna, arose a Yajna Purusha in this particular great Mahayajna. The verse that reads is, Krishnam Raktam Baradharam Raktasyam Dundubhiswanam Shubhalakshana Sampannam Divyabharana Bhushitam Shaila Shringa Samutsedham Driptashardula Vikramam. This Yajna Purush, this person or this deity from this sacrifice arose with a beautiful vessel. As per Srimad Ramayana, he arose with a vessel which was gold covered with a silver lid, and some interpret that it could also have been a silver vessel with a golden lid. Whatever be it, people who always find a relationship between science and religion have said that the payasam, the milk that came in that yajnam, which was in the vessel, had to be distributed amongst the wives of Dasharath. And the payasam couldn't be too hot, nor could it be too cold. To come at probably the room temperature, as what we call, it has to be neither too warm nor too cold. Silver was always used in cooking vessels to retain the heat, whereas gold used to be installed in the middle of a silver plate to let off the heat. It was a silver vessel with a golden lid, or it was a golden vessel with a silver lid, quite meaning the same. It was just to ensure that the content of that particular vessel was neither too warm nor too cold. Wow, science did find a place in religion, and religion should always find a place in science, because religion and science cannot walk separately. Only when they walk on parallel tracks there can be a connection, and that would make total sense for people who believe that logic and emotion can always go together. Hence, this particular verse in Srimad Ramayana that speaks about how the vessel was, speaks about the relationship between religion, that is Sanskrit literature here, which is Srimad Ramayana, and science as well. Now the payasam was received by Dasharath. The Yajna Purush who arose out of the Yajna said, "Hey Dasharath, you need to distribute the payasam amongst your wives." So he said, Kausalyayai narapatihi payasardham dadautada. Of the payasam that came out in the vessel, ardham, half of it was given to the first wife called as Kaushalya. Kausalyayai narapatihi payasardham dadautada. Ardadardham, halves half, which is 25 of 50, which is Ardadardham dadau chapi Sumitrayai naradhipaha. 50 was given to Kaushalya, 25 was given to Sumitra. The leftover was 25. Half of it was given to Kaikeyi. Kaikeyi chavasishtardham dadau putrartha karanat, seeking son. Half of that remaining half was given to Kaikeyi, which is 12.5. So 50 was given to Kaushalya, 25 was given to Sumitra, 12.5% was given to Kaikeyi, and the remaining was another 12.5. Now Dasharath started contemplating on whom to give this particular 12.5%. He said, Pradadau chavasishtardham payasasya mrutopamam anuchintya sumitrayai punareva mahamatihi. The intelligent person, the able administrator, the smart human being Dasharath thought for some time as to whom should I give this 12.5% to. And then he said to himself that I need to give this 12.5% yet again to Sumitra, who was none but a character of immense knowledge and the right mature form of it. So he gave it. Interestingly, our commentators have gone deep into these shlokas and commented on certain words of it. Here, Valmiki says, Pradadau Chavasishtardham Payasasya Mritopamam. The 12.5 which was remaining in the vessel is the sesham, the remaining. Payasasya Mritopamam. It seems the nectar of the payasam itself used to lie or was lying in the 12.5 that was remaining. Interestingly, I have something to share with all of you. I remember in my childhood when my grandmother used to feed me with food. She would gather so much of porridge and food for me where at the end of it I would say, please stop, I don't need it anymore. And she would say, there is only little left and that little is just one scoop of it. And remember, if you have the one scoop, the last one scoop of your food, that will taste the best of it. Probably she would have been inspired by these words of Valmiki which says, Payasasya Mritopamam. The remaining of the payasam which was 12.5% in the vessel was the one which was nectar-like. Let's see what happens to these queens of Dasharath, namely Kausalya, Kaikeyi and Sumitra after having consumed the payasam. But wait, we need to wait for all of these answers to these questions in the next episode. Thank you.